The meaning of perfect competition. Hello everyone, today we're going to dive deep into perfect competition, which is one of the most important models in all of economics. What exactly is perfect competition? What conditions need to be met for us to say that a market is perfectly competitive? And most importantly, why is each condition important and what happens when it's not met? Let's get started. What is perfect competition? Perfect competition is a theoretical model that describes an ideal market. A market where no single player, neither producer nor consumer, can influence the price. The price is determined solely by supply and demand forces. In such a market, every producer is what we call a price taker, meaning they accept the price. They don't set the price, they take the price set by the market. This is the opposite of a price maker, which is a producer who has the power to set the price themselves, like a monopoly. To reach this price taker situation, 5 conditions must all be met. Let's go through them. Condition 1, many producers. The first condition is that there are many producers making the same product. Not one, not two, but many. When there are many producers, what happens? They compete on price. If one sells at $10, another sells at $8, a third at $7. Each wants to make a profit and cover their costs, so they try to offer a competitive price. Now, why is this so important? Because when there are many producers, none of them is large enough to influence the price. If one producer decides to raise the price, customers simply go to another producer. But what happens when there aren't many producers? When there's only one producer, we have a monopoly. A monopoly is a situation where one company controls the entire market. A classic example in Israel is the electric company. There's one producer, no competition, so it can set whatever price it wants. It's a price maker, not a price taker. The consumer has to buy from it because there's no alternative. There's also an intermediate situation called an oligopoly, where there are a small number of producers. For example, the banking sector in Israel, where 2 large banks, Hapolim and Leumi, hold 60 to 70% of the market. When there are few players, they can easily coordinate prices among themselves, even without a formal agreement, and then there's no real competition. Condition 2, many buyers. It's not enough to have many sellers, there must also be many buyers. Why? Because if buyers unite, or if there is one large buyer, we have a situation called a monopsony. A monopsony is the opposite of a monopoly, but on the buyer's side. Instead of one producer raising prices, there is one buyer lowering prices. A buyer so large that they can tell producers, either sell to me at the price I set, or you have no customer. Think of it this way. If there's one factory in a small town and it's the only employer, it can set low wages for workers because they have no alternative. That's a monopsony in the labor market. When there are many buyers and many sellers, neither side can control the price, and that's exactly what we want in perfect competition. Condition 3, homogeneous product. What is a homogeneous product? It means all producers make exactly the same product. There are no quality differences between producers. Take an example, if we're talking about tomatoes, everyone produces the same tomato, the same size, the same quality. Not like coffee, where there are different types with different flavors, elite coffee and taster's choice coffee, each with its own taste and quality. Why is this important? Because when the product is homogeneous, the only difference between one seller and another is the price. Not quality, not brand, not design, just price. And that ensures competition is based solely on price. What happens when the product is not homogeneous? Then we have what's called product differentiation. When products differ from one another, a producer can charge a higher price because the customer prefers their product. Think about Nike shoes versus Adidas shoes. Both are sports shoes, but they're not the same product. Some people are willing to pay more for Nike because they prefer the brand. Once there's differentiation, it's no longer perfect competition, because the producer can raise the price a bit without losing all their customers. Condition 4, full information. When there is full information about prices, producers, and consumers, manipulation is impossible. If I'm a producer and I know everyone knows the product price is $10, I can't sell it for $11 because buyers will know other producers sell it cheaper and will simply go to them. What brings us full information in today's world? The Internet. The Internet is an extraordinary revolution. It gives us information about prices everywhere, even worldwide. We can compare prices, we can tell what's expensive and what's cheap. Before the Internet, when there wasn't full information, information was asymmetric, only those who knew could sell at higher prices. Sellers in a closed market could charge whatever they wanted because buyers didn't know there were cheaper options. Asymmetric information is a situation where one side has more information than the other. For example, a used car seller knows the car's problems, but the buyer doesn't. This allows manipulation and prevents fair competition. Full information eliminates this problem and ensures competition is fair and transparent. Condition 5, no government intervention. The last condition is that the government does not intervene in the market. No special taxes, no import tariffs, no subsidies, no regulations that distort competition. The government is not a player in this market. Why is this important? Because when the government intervenes, prices no longer reflect the true forces of supply and demand. If the government imposes a tariff on an imported product, the price artificially rises and local producers can charge more. If the government gives subsidies to certain producers, they can sell cheaper and push out other producers. In both cases, competition is distorted. Price taker versus price maker. Now let's delve deeper into this concept because it's central. In perfect competition, every producer is a price taker, accepting the price. What does that mean in practice? It means the producer looks at the market price and takes it as given. They can't raise the price because then no one will buy from them. There are many other producers with the same product. And they don't need to lower the price because they can sell as much as they want at the market price. The price is simply given to them. In contrast, a price maker is a producer with market power. They can influence the price. A monopoly is the extreme example, one producer sets the price. But a cartel is also an example. A cartel is when several producers organize together and decide on a common price to prevent competition among themselves. The most famous example is OPEC, the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries. Oil is a homogeneous product, right? So theoretically, there should be competition. But what happens? The producing countries unite and say, let's set the price together, let's limit the quantity each produces so the price doesn't fall. Because if they competed against each other, the price would drop. But they don't want the price to fall, so they unite and set the price together. This turns them from price takers into price makers. Real-world examples. Let's look at more examples to understand the difference between competitive and non-competitive markets. Competitive market, take, for example, a ton of wheat on the global market. It has a price on the London Exchange, there's competition, everyone offers their price, and as supply increases, the price falls. No single producer can influence the global price of wheat. This market approaches perfect competition. Non-competitive market, the dairy products sector in Israel. Tnuva dominates a large part of the market. When there's such a dominant player, it can influence prices and prevent real competition. This is one of the reasons for the high cost of living in Israel, because in many sectors there are only a few players who raise prices. An interesting example of introducing competition, the cellular market. There are many producers, Cellcom, Partner, Pelephone, Golan Telecom, Rami Levy Communications, Hot Mobile, and more. There is fierce competition, each offers low prices. Today, people pay 40 to 50 shekels a month for a SIM card. But when the cellular market started in the 1990s, we paid almost 2,000 shekels a month. A lot of money. Until a reform broke the market and introduced free competition. Prices plummeted. This perfectly shows the power of competition. When there is real competition, prices fall and consumers benefit. Why is perfect competition an ideal? It's important to understand that perfect competition is a theoretical model. In the real world, almost no market meets all 5 conditions perfectly. So why do we study it? Because it's a benchmark, a reference point. Just like in physics you study motion without friction to understand the basic principles, in economics we study perfect competition to understand how a market should ideally work. Then, when we look at a real market that doesn't meet the conditions, we can understand what's going wrong and why prices are too high or too low. In this model, when all 5 conditions are met together, we are in a utopian world of perfect competition, where prices are set by supply and demand forces, no player can influence the price alone, and resources are allocated in the most efficient way. Summary. So to summarize, the 5 conditions for perfect competition are, many producers, many buyers, homogeneous product, full information, and no government intervention. When a condition is not met, distortions arise: monopoly when there aren't many producers, monopsony when there aren't many buyers, product differentiation when the product isn't homogeneous, manipulation when there isn't full information, and price distortions when the government intervenes. The central concept is the difference between a price taker, a producer in competition who accepts the market price, and a price maker, a producer with market power who sets the price themselves. Perfect competition is the ideal, our benchmark, and later in the course we will use this model to understand how producers make decisions and how prices and wages are determined in the market. Thank you and see you in the next lecture.